My name is Kirsten and I am the teacher.
My name is Kat and I'm the athlete.
Racket sports, ping pong. Picture of bell tennis ball, bell ping pong ball, bell wristlet. Sound source, ping pong paddle, tactile maps, tactile ping pong diagrams, artists, figurine.
In this video, we are going to be exploring the racket sports skill of ping pong and talking about how you pre-teach the ping pong skills, orient the student to the game, and engage the athlete in the sport of ping pong in a PE setting. As always, pre-teaching is incredibly important for ping pong so that the student comes in with the same foundational knowledge as their peers when you are beginning the whole class lesson.
Use a tactile diagram to demonstrate the movement.
In my hands, I have our tactile diagram of our ping pong forehand and backhand skills. This is a printout of the body movements of those skills made tactile using puffy paint on the laminated surface. In ping pong, someone is standing with the racket. The ping pong table is at about waist height, and when the athlete is doing their backhand, the back of their hand is facing the net and their opponent, and when they're doing the forehand, the palm of their hand is facing the net and their opponent. They will be holding the racket in their dominant hand and making all movements with that hand.
Use an artist's figurine with the athlete to demonstrate the movement.
When you are in ping pong with our striking and receiving with forehand and backhand, you want to stay with an athletic stance. If this person is left-handed, right now we have the back of their hand facing the net, and you can feel that on their left hand. So they would be holding the ping pong paddle with their left hand and would be hitting the ball with the back of their hand facing the net. And then if they were doing their forehand, I have switched the palm around so that the palm of their hand is facing the net, and you can feel that now. And they would hit the ping pong with the paddle in their left hand. If someone was right hand, they would hold the paddle in their right hand.
Use tactile modeling to demonstrate the movement.
So I want you to feel on my hand how I have my hand with the back of my hand facing the net for our backhand movement.
Touching your right arm right now.
Right? Yes, and so you can feel that as I move out here, bounce, hit, and I will move to your opposite side so that we will talk about with our forehand movement. So now I have the palm of my hand that is holding the paddle facing the net, and you can feel how my hand is oriented.
Touching your left hand and your left arm.
Great. And you'd feel how I swing forward straight towards the net after I bounce, hit.
Use a tactile map to familiarize the athlete with the ping pong table.
In my hand, I have a tactile diagram of our ping pong table. Our table is at about waist height, and at the center of the table, it's divided by a low net that starts at the base of the table, right at the tabletop, and goes up about 4 to 6 inches. So the ping pong has to clear that each time it is hit to the opposite side. One adaptation for ping pong to make it accessible for students with visual impairments is you can allow a 2-bounce rule where the student has 2 bounces to send the ball back to their opponent, when in a typical rule it has to be sent back after 1 bounce. Additionally, to make ping pong fully accessible, you want to make sure that all passes are hitting the table first so that they aren't going just through the air as a volley, so that the student is able to orient to where the ball hits, find it, and then send it back to their opponent.
Use a variety of equipment to make the skill accessible for the athlete.
We're going to talk about some different pieces of equipment that can be used to help make ping pong fully accessible for all students. In my left hand, I have a standard ping pong ball, so it's the same size as a standard ping pong ball, and it has some ball bearings inside to make it audible. Another option is a Bell tennis ball. It's a little bit larger than a typical tennis ball, but it bounces very well and can be used for any racket sports. In my hands, I also have a typical ping pong paddle that can be used for all ping pong activities. But some students, when they're learning, find it easier to use a larger racket, such as a badminton racket or a tennis racket. Would you like to try just hitting one of these balls with our ping pong paddle, even though we don't have a table, just to get the feel of one of those? Excellent. Would you like to use either the Bell tennis ball or the ping pong?
Bell tennis ball.
Excellent. All right, you can take one hit with that. Good. I like how you moved your hand away from your body as you struck the ball.
Thank you.
Be patient. It may take several attempts for the athlete to progress in the skill.
And so that was the racket sports skill of ping pong. With good communication, fully accessible equipment, and patient teaching, ping pong and all other racket sports can be made accessible for all students, including those with visual impairments.
For more, visit the Sports Adaptations page at www.nwaba.org. Thank you for watching. Slide of NWABA logo.